Hello and welcome to CWU TV News. Here are the latest stories from around the CWU. Royal Mail's Chief Executive Adam Crozier is to quit the company later this year to take up his new post of Chief Executive at ITV. CWU TV caught up with General Secretary Billy Hayes for his response to this surprise news.
Well, obviously there's got to be a replacement for Adam Crozier, and we want to make sure that that replacement is somebody who has a public service ethos, who wants to see Labour's manifesto commitment of 2005 carried out. It's a publicly owned Royal Mail with rewarding employment for people in the CWU. So that's what we're looking for, and that's what we really want to see for the future of Royal Mail.
Project Holburn negotiations with BT are making significant progress. CWU TV spoke to Deputy General Secretary Telecoms Andy Kerr for the latest on how negotiations are progressing.
Big issue for people, especially in the call centres and customer service and consumer sales. Big changes to attendance patterns, for example. That's a major discussion. It's still underway at the moment. We're still working away with it. We're very close to an agreement on there. Understandable, anybody changing their attendance, is going to be hard for them. But I think we have to be realistic. And the jobs that people currently do in call centres over the next 2 or 3 years will disappear. They will disappear through new technology, through automation, through different products that's been sold. So we need to get work back into here that these people can do, and that work currently is in India. So this is tied into people changing their attendance patterns, hopefully to something that they can, is reasonable for them to do, but at the same time bringing thousands of jobs back from India. As far as the other parts of the Holburn discussions are, there's a big issue there within retail itself on management style, and that's been a major issue for us over the last few years. We've now got virtually an agreement with the company, coming out with clear statements, clear guidance to management, how they should operate within the call centres, and we're hopeful that there will be a remarkable change over the next few months in how people are treated. The intention is to have a presentation throughout the country for 2 or 3 weeks with BT, explaining to the call centre workers exactly what this means for them, so everyone will understand it. Then we'll have a ballot of the membership affected to take a decision. But I say it would be crucial that we actually get around the country, speak to people so they understand what the issue is about before they actually take a ballot. But there's a commitment certainly from the union that everybody affected will be balloted on the issue.
There is yet another new chief exec at BT Global Services, and the CWU is challenging a move to change the age range at which retirement benefits kick in.
Global Services have been a disaster. I think everybody knows that over the year. It's turned around now. It's a matter of moving forward. And I think what I would like to see Jeff Kelly do is put more emphasis in the UK market rather than doing the global spending sprees of Francois Barrault of the past. Concentrate in the UK market, try and build that market back up, and try and put some confidence back into the workforce, because they've totally been demoralised in global services over the last year, management and workers and team workers. And I think it's about time they get settled down to work together to make that bit of the business actually really profitable again.
Default retirement age came in on the back of age discrimination legislation, and it was particular to the UK. And what he introduced was a facility for companies to legitimately retire people at age 65. BT have written to the union indicating their intention to enact that facility to consider the retirement of people coming up to the age 65. Clearly, the default retirement age came in from lobbying from businesses rather than trade unions. Trade unions clearly saw it as something that was discriminatory. So you can draw your own conclusion. Certainly the comments from the Labour Party are that they would intend to remove that facility. That's on public record from Harriet Harman. In the meantime, we have to enact our own process to appeal on behalf of our members. That is part of their legal rights, and we are currently instructing our branches on how they need to do that.
Britain's 1.3 million agency workers are a step closer to gaining important new rights to equal treatment after the government tabled new legislation. The CWU has warmly welcomed the move, due to come into force by 2011.
In a nutshell, this will mean that over 1 million people in the UK for the first ever time will be entitled to equal treatment as far as pay, as far as annual leave, and as far as basic working conditions are concerned. They have for many years been exploited and have been extremely vulnerable in the workplace. And now, after 12 weeks of continuous work within one given job, they'll be entitled to the same pay and basic conditions of the permanent worker. That's something that we should be celebrating. We haven't got all that we want in this legislation, and the fact is that we will have to ensure that there is robust anti-avoidance measures in place. We will have to ensure that there aren't unscrupulous employment agencies or indeed employers out there that will try and circumvent the equal treatment rights. And I'm sure that a lot of the areas of the text and the new law will be challenged.
Following the interim agreement reached by the Royal Mail and the CWU, which ended the national postal strikes, negotiations towards a final agreement taking place at ACAS have been extended due to the recent weather disruption. CWU TV will bring you further details as and when we have them. On the 26th of January, over 100 CWU branch representatives and MPs attended Parliament to lobby their support for a CWU campaign urging the government to take responsibility for the Royal Mail pensions deficit. Time to deliver Royal Mail pension fund deficit was presented to a packed House of Commons committee room, outlining the true extent of this issue and the possible solutions to overcome it.
We're in talks with Royal Mail designed to transform the company. We're negotiating and we want the government to play its part and deliver and sort out the Royal Mail pension fund deficit. So that's what today was about. Asking MPs to support the document publicly and to write to Peter Mandelson asking him to deal with the Royal Mail pension fund deficit. It's a very comprehensive document that gives a menu of options where Labour can fulfil its 2005 manifesto pledge.
Several MPs spoke, welcoming the document, pointing out that its clear, concise arguments made a strong and logical case for urgent government action.
The previous government had taken billions of pounds out of the pension fund in successive years, and that was stopped in 1998. Now I think this government has got to put that matter right. It's not a political issue, it's about doing the right thing.
Following the meeting, CWU branch representatives met with their constituency MPs, urging them to adopt the proposals. Over 150 MPs have signed Early Day Motion 344 in support of the CWU campaign for a new, wholly publicly owned post office bank. A formal government review on every aspect of the post bank is currently being run by the Department of Business, Innovation and Skills. Its final report, due at the end of the month, will be considered by the government and is expected to form the basis on which future services are provided.
We're pleased that there is a consultation. And that gives an opportunity for people to have their say. But we're concerned that the consultation is very, very narrow and seems to preclude the opportunity to introduce a post bank. The fear would be that the consultation will actually just come out with more financial services, which really is an extension to what is currently being done at the post office today in conjunction with the Bank of Ireland, and not do anything radical like introducing a post bank.
The Digital Economy Bill, part of the Digital Britain report, is set to be a key priority for Labour as the general election approaches. Gordon Brown is committed to providing super-fast broadband, which he says is vital for the UK economy, with the potential for 1.5 million new skilled jobs to be created over the coming years. The CWU welcome the government's commitment to get the bill through before the general election. However, according to the CWU, there are currently two major omissions in the bill as it currently stands.
The two big issues for us were, if you like, the obligation. There's a universal service commitment in the bill. We would like to see that changed to an obligation. An obligation makes it absolutely clear that 100% of the country must be served by broadband. That's not the case at the moment. But it's also one of the issues where we're going to focus more on the second one, which is the skills and training of our workforce. We think that's really crucial to do that, and we think we've got support for it. The issue really at this point in time is the interesting statements made by the Tory party over a week or so ago by Mr Osborne and their idea on digital economy bill. The issue there is that they are suggesting that they take 3.5% of the licence fee money to help build, if you like, Digital Britain, but only if the private industry can't do it themselves. Now, this is a ridiculous situation to be in. Nowhere in the world, apart from Korea, has an issue about only private money. This is purely about Charles Dunstan of Carphone Warehouse and James Murdoch of Sky, who are the funders of the Tory party, pulling the strings and no thought out process. And I'm being quite clear, in the party political way, I'm urging my members to be voting Labour at this next election, because it's absolutely crucial. If the Tories get in the next election, put this forward, thousands, and I mean thousands of jobs in BT and in Virgin Media are at risk here.
Orange has announced it's to close its call centre in Bristol. The workers, who were called in for an emergency meeting in early January, have been given a 90-day consultation period. Orange has said that the job losses aren't related to the forthcoming merger with T-Mobile.
There had been rumours circulating. People thought they would possibly be relocating, but nobody thought there were going to be 300 blanket redundancies. So, yeah, people are extremely let down. The three things that we're going to try and do, we're going to make sure that the company explore the internal positions, so as many people as we can get them to stay in Bristol. We're going to make sure that there's a decent relocation package if people do want to relocate, and obviously we're going to try and secure the best possible redundancy package for our people.
A postwoman who was left severely injured following a vicious dog attack in February 2007 has been awarded £70,000 in a compensation settlement. CWU National Health and Safety and Environment Officer Dave Joyce welcomed the compensation figure, but added it's clear that this dog was a menace and preventative action should have been taken prior to the horrific attack. The CWU, along with other organisations and individuals, is campaigning for an amendment to the Dangerous Dogs Act that would provide police and local authorities with the power to issue control orders on owners of dogs that are deemed a threat before an attack takes place.
We've had two very fruitful meetings with the DEFRA Minister Jim Fitzpatrick, current incumbent of that post, who's responsible for dangerous dogs and animals legislation. As a result of that, Jim has listened very carefully to the case we've put forward. He's taken on board the points that we've made, and I think he recognises that there is a very significant problem that needs to be addressed. And Angela Smith MP for Sheffield Hillsborough raised a question asking the Prime Minister in Prime Minister's question time to meet a delegation of interested parties that have been involved in the Bite Back campaign, and he's agreed to do that, and hopefully that will then be the final piece in the jigsaw for us to actually get the changes in legislation we've been campaigning for very diligently over the last 2 years.
Climate Solidarity, a trade union initiative funded by the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, has launched with the aim of persuading thousands of trade union members to cut their carbon emissions.
Climate Outreach Information Network, COIN, which is an environmental charity, wrote to DEFRA and asked would they be interested in receiving a bid from the trade union movement. The government said yes, so ourselves, CWU, PCS, NUT and UCU, put a bid together to try and use, if you like, the best practices in the trade union movement to promote sustainability amongst our members. We believe the initiatives that we will engage people on domestically will make them think about what happens in the workplace. And the government is determined to get all major businesses to reduce their carbon footprint, to the extent that there's suggestion that companies will be fined unless they do so. And of course, if we've got individuals thinking about their own lifestyles, then when they go into work, they will also be questioning what their employer is doing. And when their employer does come along with some initiatives to meet government reduction targets, then they will see the place of that in society and how it helps the planet and helps themselves.
Training and support are available for anyone interested in taking part in Climate Solidarity. For more information, please visit the CWU website. And finally, a postman from Kent became a local hero after coming to the aid of an elderly woman who had fallen at home. Jeremy Lefebvre from Sevenoaks had just delivered mail to a flat when he heard a cry for help from inside. Jeremy called out his manager and together they managed to force the door down and were able to help her. As a retained firefighter, he was able to use his first aid training to help the 88-year-old before the ambulance arrived. He said that Doris Hayward seemed cold and unsure of how long she'd been there. A hospital spokeswoman praised his prompt actions, telling the local press that he and his manager had definitely saved her life. Cliff Brooks, CWU representative for Sevenoaks Delivery Office, commented on Jeremy's heroic effort and said, "We are all extremely proud of him for his prompt actions. He's a big hero down here." To find out more about any of the stories featured in the programme, please visit the CWU website at www.cwu.org. Until next time, thanks for watching.